Peace and blessings, power people. This is part 3 of our social media conversation about making your dream a reality. And I want to focus in on how to choose the sacrifices you need to make. Because whether you are consciously choosing those sacrifices or not, sacrifices must be made for you to have the kind of success that you envision as an entrepreneur, as someone who is passionate about providing either services or products, and you want to just have positive impact in the world. This is your first time catching this conversation, go back to my different social media channels, TikTok, Facebook. Hopefully you're in my group Let the Womb Be Heard, my Instagram at the Womb Sauna, and really get caught up because I am coined the spiritual business strategist for a reason. The principles that I teach my clients that I coach to help them be successful in their creative power and create wealth straight up out of their sacral chakra energy is rooted in spiritual principles. So let's get into it. What do you need to sacrifice? Well, for one, where there is a lack of order, there's chaos. How do you want other people to respect your time, but you don't even stick to your schedule? How do you want other people to respect your level of professionalism and how you do business, and yet you don't offer an experience of interacting with your business at the highest level professionally, right? This is why I teach what I teach about business infrastructure. What is the foundation upon which your business has been built and stands? Some of you have to sacrifice your comfort zone with winging it. You have to decide that from this conversation forward, you're not going to wing it anymore. You're going to actually put in some work to organize, structure, and get together your business. Anything less than that really honestly puts you at a disadvantage. When I was coming into the knowledge of the Kemetic spiritual system, one of the first energies that spoke to me was Ma'at, the goddess Ma'at, who represents divine order. And as a daughter of Sekhmet, I couldn't really get ready for Sekhmet until I had Ma'at. Because to have unlimited power and not have order is destructive. So some of you are not realizing the full capacity that you have because the lifestyle that you have created is chaotic energetically. You are all over the place, and it shows in the back of your closet, underneath the bed. It shows when you look at the revenue that your business is creating or not creating. It shows in the lack of marketing infrastructure. It shows in the lack of operating at a certain, it shows. It's obvious that you need order and discipline. You need infrastructure. It's not a judgment. It's not even a criticism. Sometimes it's just a fact, right? So that's part of the reason why I've created the 888 Code Business Masterclass, which is a 5-day training on business infrastructure. It is like a work clinic. You dock up, and we are literally working and laying the necessary foundation for how you operate. It's not the kind of business masterclass that's going to give you some templates, give you my blueprint for how to do, make a certain amount of money in a certain period of time. If you're not the size container for the blessings that you want, then putting stuff in a container that's got holes in it is not beneficial to you. And I know through this process and the students I've had in this class, there are people who spent thousands of dollars and you're frustrated because people gave you stuff not even acknowledging or bringing to your attention that they're putting stuff in your container and they can see the holes in the bottom. I can't, I'm not built that way. If your foundation has cracks in it, I'm not going to put something on a cracked foundation. I'm going to fill the cracks. That's my anointing. That's my gift. And that's what I offer through my training. So one of the first things you're going to need to sacrifice is your comfort level with living the way you're living when you know that your life is not in order. Get your house in order so that you have the greater capacity. What is the other thing you should choose to sacrifice? You should choose to sacrifice anyone and anything that would stand in the way of you showing up bigger and better. So if you have partnerships, collaborations, if you've made contracts, deals, if you've been trying to partner with certain product lines, et cetera, whatever it is that you've been doing, if you have business partners that you've outgrown, if you have clients and customers that you've outgrown, it's drop-off season. It's time to sacrifice them. Like, what do you mean sacrifice? It can sound kind of harsh and cruel or cold for some of you who are overgivers. But what is the cost of your overgiving? What is the cost of constantly making yourself available? What is the cost of preserving things that you've outgrown? So take inventory, sit down with your journal and be in the energy and take a look at like what, who, and what needs to go so I can make more room and call that energy back to myself, right? It's time to do that. Call that energy back to yourself because you deserve an experience where you see yourself function at another level. So that leads me to my next point. Some of you need to choose to be uncomfortable because maybe the success you're asking for is outside of your comfort zone. So if you think you can keep the same way of being, that you're not going to be required to change, it might cost you the kind of success you're asking for. And you got to reconcile that within yourself. If the success I'm asking for, if the next level requires me to be more visible, but I'm an introvert and I'm shy about turning on the camera and hit record, I got a decision to make. Maybe I won't obtain that success if I don't get out of my comfort zone with being hidden. It's as simple as that. If the people you need to reach need to see you, feel your energy, hear what you have to say, and you won't show up, and you expect the universe to accommodate your insecurity and give you the reward and reward your insecurity with the kind of success you envision, then somebody has been complacent with keeping you in your delusion. And I'm here to wake you up and say, we are at a crossroad. Either you will show up or you will not be seen. And there are ways to do that that do not have to tax your nervous system. And this is the kind of processing I do in my training on day one. What is the fear? And how do we do it scared? How do we activate courage despite the anxiety? I teach that because entrepreneurship is a different breed of territory. So I understand what comes with it because I've been doing this my whole life. So I get it. I understand. But if you think that you can stay in that energy and get more, you already know the answer to that. You must change. And I teach you how to do it. And we actually practice that in the class. I practice different marketing strategies with you. And I bring accountability to you being visible in the process with me. It's fun, scary for some, but we get it done. And that's part of the reason that people who've been in that process with me make money before they even leave the class because of the things that we do in the training, right? So Get ready to sacrifice your comfort zone. You're gonna have to step outside of what's familiar to get what's unfamiliar. Get some new things, some new outcomes, some new results. And then lastly, I want you to sacrifice the identity of success that you've already created for yourself. Sometimes we bask in our past glory too long. Well, I know what I know because before I did this, or I got that award, or I got that media publication. I don't care about your past. And you shouldn't either. You shouldn't care about your past traumas, nor should you care about your past successes, because the only space in your life where you have power is in right now. So right now, what are you doing? Right now. When you run in your resume, your credentials, I get it, put it in the bio, but like really, people are trying to connect with who you've become today, not who you've been before. Who are you in this moment? And some of you are still riding the wave of the energy of what you were able to do in an older version of yourself, and you haven't even activated the new energy because you're so busy holding on to the harvest of the old energy, even if it's only two things left in the field. And you got a whole field over here that you're looking at that's going to require you to reinvent and rebirth yourself and drop off that old identity and what people knew you for before. Because your values have changed, what you believe has changed, the way you want to express your spiritual gifts has changed. You have got to drop off that old successful identity, put some flowers on it, you know what I mean? Do a eulogy of that version of yourself and move forward into the new, rebirthed, wet behind the ears, fresh anointing. And will some people be so in love with the older versions of you that they don't want to follow who you've emerged and become? Yeah, you might have some people who cannot relate to who you've become today. So what? There are plenty of people waiting on the other side of the field who do want to know who you've become. I remember when I changed my name from Melinda to Tama, and people who knew me as Melinda had started interacting with Tama. And there is a significant vibrational difference between my name. Melinda is wrapped up in the energy and identity of my mother, who is a great mother, but she is not Tama. And Tama literally translates to queen. Tama Aziz Sirwa means queen with noble character, loved by many. It is a name that I received as I was becoming whole and healed from a lot of trauma in my life and in process, going through the sacred woman journey. And so I remember one day having a conversation with a person who her introduction to me was Melinda. And she couldn't stand the accountability and the reflecting that Tama was bringing to her. She burst out in the middle of the conversation and said, I don't want Tama right now. I want Melinda. And I lovingly said, she's not available. You're going to have moments like that where people want the Bible quote and scripture version of you, or they don't want to hear the one that's reading A Course in Miracles, or they don't want to hear the one that has evolved and is no longer just only calling God male, but acknowledging the female expression of divinity. Some people don't want who you've become today, and you are pacifying them by still feeding them your old energy, even though you know you're not even feeding off of your old energy. Sacrifice those connections, sacrifice the things that make you feel like you still need to be somebody that you no longer are. So I offer those things to reflect on in the conversation. We have one more part to this series. Class starts January 23rd, the first round of the year. There'll be another round in August. And then the last round of this training will be in December of this year. So if you don't catch January, I hope you have a plan for your business, because otherwise you're going to be winging it. And I don't think anybody set that as their intention for 2023 to wing it. I feel like all of you have set an intention to be able to be in the full expression of yourself. And if you don't have a plan for that, then you won't be able to execute that plan. So if you need me, I'm here. And you can either do our full pay registration option, or you can do the flex pay registration option. You can literally come into this process by making your first installment of $99 and then doing the rest of the payments and breaking it down. I make it this easy because I actually genuinely love expressing this part of my gift. And I have real grief when I see people who are passionate, that I love and care about, winging it. I know how much that costs you in revenue. I know how much that costs you in self-esteem. I know how much that costs you in peace of mind. So I genuinely make this class very accessible and easy to get into, because I know the impact it can have in your life and in your business. And I love to create tangible, measurable, real impact in people's lives. That's why the word on the street, if you Google Tamar Aziz Serwa, you Google the womb sauna, you can trace my influence in the world. You can see how I've been able to transform thousands of lives through being obedient and congruent with my assignment. So this too is part of my assignment. Before I even launched the womb sauna, I used to be in corporate America, in the telecommunication industry, helping small business owners figure out how to operate their businesses in ways that were affordable and would increase the return on their investment through technology solutions. I'm not new to this, but I am true to this. I know infrastructure. I know infrastructure. And you're going to need it. You're going to need it to be the size container for the blessings you're asking God for as it relates to your business. All right, so go to thewombsauna.com. Under our Enroll in Classes tab, click on the 888 code or 5-day business infrastructure training link and sign up. There is room for you. I've already hit my enrollment target for this class. I've actually exceeded it and did so before the turn into 2023. So I'm actually at half of my annual enrollment target for this class as I'm doing this live. So before, what I used to do with my programs and classes is I had if I had reached my enrollment target, I would let the class sell out and create wait lists. But I have expanded. I'm a big, vast energy. And so I've taken those limits off just to kind of see what it feels like to continue to allow people, even at the final hour, to come into this process and get what they need. The date is January 23rd. It's a 5-day training. We start on Monday. It goes Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come in your hair bonnet, come with however you want to dress. I don't care. It's virtual. Turn your camera on. We docking up. It's like a work clinic. And I'm going to hand walk you through the different parts of your business infrastructure and how to get things organized and in order. Simple, basic stuff. And I do the class in 5 days because people think they need more time than they do. And I want to be a part of your discovery of your true capacity and how efficient you are when you're focused and when your mind is made up. Always say healing starts with a decision. So just say yes if you know you need it and you have the financial resources to give it to yourself. Don't strain, don't force nothing. I believe in moving powerfully versus forcefully. There will be some other rounds coming up, but listen, if you don't have what you need to be in this class, you better get something because the year is here. I started my plan for 2023 in the third quarter of last year. October, my marketing campaigns for what I was launching in January were running. Some of y'all are planning for the spring and you're planning late. It's already halfway through January, just about. So you're waiting until January to create the plan for the spring? My whole 2023 is already planned. And one of my big wins that I would love to share is that every program that I'm running this year has enrollments already. We haven't even completed the first week of 2023. How did that happen? Well, for one, I envisioned that it could. Once I could see clearly, then I started executing on what I was envisioning. How do I set this up where I can manifest this outcome? Okay, well, if I want to be able to have enrollment, so the anxiety I used to have before of, man, I'm gonna put all this energy into all these programs, launch, and I don't know who's gonna sign up for what. I don't have that. Tamer got smart and launched an all access pass because I noticed a pattern in my business where people would come into one program and end up signing up for all of them. And they actually were investing more money. And I said, I love to financially reward people who feel like they can feed off of my energy and what God has put in me. So let me create an all access pass and people can literally enroll in every single program that I will offer for the year. And people were excited. I already knew that they wanted it because they were already doing it. And so literally people started signing up for the all access passes. And literally like overnight, every single program that I offer has enrollments. You don't need somebody to tell you what to do. You just need somebody to remind you of who you are and activate your clarity about that so you'll start executing on it. And that's what I do in my business, infrastructure training. I help you understand where you have blind spots. I help you understand how to see. And then, because of how I structure it, I immediately throw you into implementation. And it does kind of feel like a throw. It's the feedback I've gotten, but people love me for it. And that's why I continue to offer it. So, Deep Bow, thank you for your time and tuning in. And I can't wait to see some of you in class. Many of you listening have already given your yes and said, I'm there, Tamer. You only got to ask me one time because I know I need it and I'm no longer in the energy of denying myself what I need. When I recognize that I need it, I give it to myself.